But Venus going into Libra. So this is significant because this is her home, isn't it? Her home sign. So she gains dignity here.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this. It's sort of like getting back on track with some stuff. We've had the retrograde, we've got a lot of stuff going on, astrologically, and this feels like a reset. Let's get back, to what we were doing. It's lovely that we have the moon in Cancer again for this, ingress. Eventually, we know Mercury is going to join back up into Virgo, and for a while we'll have them both signified. So that feels nice.
It does, doesn't it? I mean, Libra's air sign, so it's about our thoughts and feelings and words, would you say?
Yeah.
It can express in ways of looking for fairness and diplomacy and justice. Sometimes that can be at your own expense. So with Libra, like Venus, she's still seeking and love, but also focused on peace, bringing peace. And sometimes peace can come at a cost. You know, you see in peace negotiations, each side has to give way. And symbol is the scales, isn't it? It's a balancing act. And you've got to make sure that you're not doing all the giving. I think you can see sometimes with a Libran person can sometimes give too much of themselves. Their efforts to keep the peace can be at their own cost.
Yeah, it's interesting too with this, it's not exact yet at the degree, but Krista is our resident Antisha expert. I love that Venus or that Libra and Pisces have this Antisha, and that Saturn in Pisces, and that's the sign that Venus is exalted in. There's like this way of seeing each other, because Saturn exalts also in Libra. So that's kind of where the difference between Venus and Libra comes from, is like this Saturnian piece of it that is looking for like the balancing of the scales, or like the boundary setting of like defining justice, and defining beauty via this weighing of what's important. That while we have this transit of Saturn and Pisces, that every time Venus is in Libra, that they have this like secret communication happening, I think there. So it could be a powerful time for those types of justice activities that we would like to see society in general. But yeah.
And especially because we'll be seeing eclipses. We had one last at the beginning of the year, didn't we? At 5 degrees. And there'll be another eclipse this year, later this year, in Libra. The first eclipse coming up in Pisces. Those Saturn, Libra, Venusian, Saturnian conversations are carrying on. Because we see the south node there. So once the sun reaches that south node, it's not too long, we get to eclipse season. She will trine Pluto, but that ingress carries the energy of the whole of the transit, the whole of the time that she'll be in Libra. And obviously, she's trining that Pluto now. One astrologer, I do forget who, I'm sorry, did say that trines can hit different when it's Pluto. Trines are normally very easy. They're also the nature of Venus. Usually we look at them as being quite nice, straightforward. They're usually things that we hardly even notice because they're easy and feel natural. You just ease into it and ease out of it. It's not. Usually we notice things that we're struggling with, but we don't always notice something that just comes easy. We breeze through it. But with Pluto, that can be an unmasking of something shadowy. And obviously in this case, something Venusian.
Yeah.
So that.
Yep. You're saying that, it's kind of like, that makes sense to me with Pluto. It's like, does such a thing exist as like underworld light? Like, I don't, like, light version of the underworld. Like, I don't know that there does.
No, just a chink of light, but it's hard to imagine. You think there must be some. It's like you need the darkness in order to see the light, but
yeah,
it's just that contrast. Because our teacher was talking about the contrarieties in one of his lectures, and he was saying you have to have those contrarieties. You can't do without one. So yeah, I put a question there. to think about with Venus trining Pluto was, where does your bid for your own personal power, for shining your brightest light, scare you? So yeah, when you're trying to lean into that Venusian, embracing that Venusian Libran energy, does a part of that scare you? But then that's actually what you need to be leaning into at this time. So okay.